requires us to address it immediately and vigorously. And I say to my most eloquent colleague from Aston Martin that when he says that the part of the vehicle that breaks down the most often is the electrical system, I say to him, no, sir. The part that breaks down most often is the driver. It's the drug driver. It's the driver on drugs. It's the driver, perhaps some of our mothers should not be driving. Sherry or no sherry? And that's my point. And that's my point. Autonomous cars, that they bring the hope of a safer world. Not a guarantee. Yes, there could be hacking. I know that. There could be a lot of things. There could be people coming down from Mars tonight. But let's deal in the world that we're facing today. And I hear you on the poverty facing the world. And I think there'll be a debate on that next week. But tonight we're talking about autonomous cars. And we're talking about the mayhem on the highways and the risk to all of us. And it's not just people who are driving. You're going to cross the street tonight, and you know that you take your life in your hands in Cambridge every day, crossing the street with the drivers in Cambridge and not just the bicyclists, right? All we need is autonomous bicycles. No. So I say also to the House, let us consider for a moment something that's not been dealt with at all. And that is the promise of a new passenger economy. I mean, think of this. We can, with driverless cars, we can drink legally in our cars. We can dine in our cars. We can get, I love your toes, a mani-pedi in our cars. We can get health care. We can be educated. We can do our jobs. One might even suppose that the world's oldest profession may find a new home in the driverless car. Think of the possibilities. Speaking as a trial lawyer and a law professor, may I also say to you that, and this I mean seriously, this one little bit, okay? This one little bit, I mean seriously. Right now, in the world, nearly no one is adequately insured or has adequate assets to deal with a catastrophic motor vehicle accident. But to the extent that with a driverless car, the fault lays with the motor vehicle manufacturer, be it Mr. Jaguar or Mr. Aston Martin. And by the way, sir, if I owned an Aston Martin, I would have no interest in it being driverless. None. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. But most of us can't afford Aston Martins, sir. Mm-hmm. Well, I rely upon my eloquent colleague on the economic analysis. I'm just dealing here with frivolity at the late hour that we have. So I just would like to add, if I may, that we could all be wrong. These could be terrible. They really could be, although they could be great, as you say. And I think that we agree that, yes, they're coming, they could be bad, they could be good. But let us have the freedom to experiment and see. If they're terrible, what will happen? The marketplace will speak. Regulatory authorities will speak. Let us have the freedom to be wrong. Don't take away our freedom to be wrong. What's more likely is that the history of the human experience is that every technological advance from the printing press to the internet has made us more efficient and happier. Okay, there's no longer much need for a scroll writer or for a carriage driver of a horse. But so what? You know, when automatic teller machines were invented, people said, oh, tellers will lose their jobs. But what ended up happening was that banks opened more branches and more people were employed. History tells us that what happens is that work adapts to technology. The scroll writer of the 13th century has been replaced today by, you know, the brilliance of using the iPhone for nearly everything. All that should be feared from autonomous cars is fear itself. All that should be feared is the absence of bold and persistent experimentation with the human experience. We had the courage to go from the cave to the hut, and from the hut to the dormitory, and from the dormitory to a home. From the Stone Age to the Iron Age, to the Steel Age, to the Information Age. From the megaphone to the microphone, from voodoo and witchcraft to advanced life-saving medical technology. Let's allow, if they want them, let's allow people to have driverless cars. Let's allow people the freedom, if they want to get into driverless cars. With the hope and the promise, but not the guarantee, of a safer, more productive, more fun, and a more glorious world. I thank you very much, Mr. President.
Shannon, thank you very much for closing the debate. As many of you will know, the way that we vote here is now not by noise, but by walking. If you would like to vote in favor of this motion and side with the proposition, you walk through the door marked ayes on the right. If you would like to vote in opposition, you walk through the door marked noes. But just before that, I want to remind you that tomorrow at 3 p.m. we have the star of Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston, who will be here, which will definitely be very exciting. Our next week's debate is on whether celebrity fandom is a religion, with Katie Price versus Reverend Richard Coles and many others. And just a reminder that in the bar afterwards, in light of this very interesting topic, we'll be having a Mario Kart tournament on the Nintendo Wii. If you would like to do that, please do. Also, if you spoke in this debate, please feel free to come and get a free drink from the dining room with us and the speakers afterwards. Thank you very much and have a great evening.